We're coming your way from Philadelphia, where today the Pittsburgh Pirates take on their cross-state rivals, the Philadelphia Phillies. Pittsburgh teams 0-2 last night. Of course, the Flyers beat the Pens, and it was a 2-1 final in last night's game. The Phillies beat the Pittsburgh Pirates. Greg Brown, Bob Walk, and Robbie Ince-Mikowski with you. Pirates, in fact, Bob had only 6 hits in last night's ball game. Good sign, though, in that 2 of the hits provided by Gregory Polanco, who got off to such that strong start, but seemed to have fallen off recently. He was also on base 3 times last night.
Yeah, he really did get off to a very strong start, especially with the home run ball and getting RBIs in bunches. And I think what that has led to is that he got that swing back being a little too long, trying to go out and hook the balls out of the ballpark, and they're trying to get him to get short again. Really just go from, with the hands right over the shoulder, right to the baseball, and hopefully that's going to pay off. Couple of hits last night, maybe get him going a little bit, and a base on balls.
Big test for the Pirates offense today. Aaron Nola, the young ace really of this staff, he's just been tremendous for the Philadelphia Phillies, and Steven Brault, again, he has his hands full.
This is not the guy you want to catch right now when you're struggling to score runs. Nola is one of the best young starters in the league, but the game is played between the lines out there, not on the stat sheet. We'll just see how it goes tonight, and we need this one.
Yeah, it's a good thing this game is this afternoon, because the Pirates are 8-0 in day games. Pirates, yeah, it's sunny in Philadelphia. The Bucks and the Phillies ready to play ball coming up next.
TNT Sportsnet is brought to you by the law firm of Bordas & Bordas. Bordas & Bordas, fighting for justice. And by Day Automotive. We're gonna make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Beautiful day for baseball. After a couple of cold evenings, wind conditions proved at times treacherous here in Philly. First 2 nights as Aaron Nola takes the hill. And the Bucks trying to shoot for evening this 4-game series. After dropping the first 2, they'll need to win today and tomorrow to end up splitting the series. Check out the Toyota RAV4 starting lineup for the Bucks. Sean Rodriguez will lead off. Then it's Gregory Polanco and Starling Marte. Josh Bell hits cleanup, batting .417 in day games. Corey Dickerson in left. Francisco Cervelli, Colin Moran, Jordy Mercer, and Stephen Brault for the Bucks against Aaron Nola, the 24-year-old Baton Rouge, Louisiana native. Sean Rodriguez getting set to lead things off.
Well, Nola is off to a fine start. We were talking about how good he is. You can see the 173 opponent batting average there at the bottom, but you could see the same fantastic numbers, even better than that, when Tyone took the hill for us in game 1, and it didn't play out that way. So hopefully tonight Nola will have his what do you call it?
Comeuppance. Take a look at the Honda defense behind him. Isabel Herrera, outstanding in center field. Reese Hoskins, Aaron Altair on the corners. Miguel Franco, Scott Kingery on the left side. Cesar Hernandez, Carlos Santana on the right side. And Jorge Alfaro catches. Scott Kingery has started at 5 different positions this season.
Need a spotlight to find him. Where's the run line?
He has been in the spotlight since signing that long-term contract, having not played one major league game before the season started. Sean Rodriguez cracks it foul. Jumps on the first pitch. It looked as though Adam Frazier was going to lead things off for the Pirates during the absence of Josh Harrison, but instead it has been Frazier for a couple games and Sean Rodriguez. Aaron Nola making his 5th start of the season.
Well, Frazier hasn't looked like himself hitting.
He really hasn't. Lance Barrett calls the balls and strikes. Nick Lentz at first. Bill Welke is the crew chief there at second, and Tony Randazzo at third. That's hit hard the other way, and Sean Rodriguez sends it out of here with some authority off the scoreboard in right field, and look at the reaction of the Pirates bench. An absolute blast to the opposite field for Sean Rodriguez.
That is pretty amazing how far that ball traveled. That went off the auxiliary scoreboard hanging from the second deck, opposite field. That's the way to start the ball game.
Number 3 for Sean Rodriguez.
Get the offense rolling against one of the premier guys. Mid-thigh, middle of the plate, pounded it.
Right after he had fouled a pitch off and broke the bat, here is Polanco. And he tried to launch one himself, but pops it up at a shallow left. Miguel Franco says he has it and does.
Hoskins wasn't going to get there, so that could have been another hit.
Here's the reaction again by the Pirates bench. Watching that opposite field blast. Joe Musgrove, Anderson Tyone. Impressive stuff from Sean Rodriguez. Now Starling Marte. Shows bunt, third baseman Franco back. Number 3 for Sean Rodriguez. Marte has 3 himself. He's 1 for 6 in the series. First career leadoff home run for Sean Rodriguez. Has not led off much in his career. Starling Marte, on the other hand, he has been a Pirates leadoff hitter in the past. Again, showing Button takes a breaking ball for a strike that was hanging right there.
I should drop that one down. Franco was playing very deep at third. That high breaking ball, that's an easy ball to bunt.
Gabe Kapler there, rookie skipper. Now down on strikes. A breaking ball out of the zone. That was not a great at bat. Aaron first-round pick out of LSU 4 years ago, 7th overall pick in Major League Baseball. Josh Bell looks for his first hit of the series. 0 for 7 in the first 2 games.
Hit 2 rockets in last night's game, but both of them went for outs. But that was just nice to see that good, solid contact there. He just blistered a couple balls. And we hadn't seen that for a little while.
Here's Dad, Ernest. Sunglasses on. Part of the father's trip. Josh's dad. Two and one on Josh Bell. Hope you get a chance to see the Inside Pirates Baseball special that Jack Becker did from AT Sportsnet about the relationship between Ernest Bell and his son Josh, and the work that they put in, still do, on fine-tuning his skills in baseball, the workouts, the different drills they've done over his almost entire life. Kamara Barti, Pirates first base coach. Makes a Philly fan happy. 2 and 2. There's a line drive that's going to be caught for the final out. And a quick start to this ball game as Nola gives up the Rodriguez homer. And Rodriguez. Check out the Phillies lineup. Cesar Hernandez leads off. The Phillies second baseman. The series 4 for 8. Carlos Santana is the first baseman with Odubel Herrera in center. Reese Hoskins, Miguel Franco, Scott Kingery, the middle of the order. Aaron Altair, Jorge Alfaro, and Aaron Nola starting 9. Stephen Brault makes his 5th appearance, 4th start.
Yeah, I'd like to see him, tighten things up with the control a little bit. Those 9 walks, a little on the high side for not being a strikeout guy. We'll see how that plays out in this inning, but I think that's going to be important for him as the season goes along. Really establish some good command with that fastball. No more effectively wild games.
First pitch strike to Hernandez. That's a couple. Early strikes on the speedy second baseman who led the National League in infield hits last season. One career start against the Phillies. That was 2 years ago here. Doesn't get a call. The high pitch could have been called a strike. Switch hitting second baseman Cesar Hernandez. And can't pull the trigger on the breaking ball from Brault.
Yeah, that last pitch, Greg, it just again shows you can throw a ball down the middle.
Yeah. Take a look at the Pirates defense. Starling Marte in center. His wingers, Corey Dickerson, Gregory Polanco, Josh Bell, Sean Rodriguez on the right side, Jordy Mercer, Colin Moran on the left side with Francisco Cervelli catching, and Jordy Mercer's been outstanding once again with the glove. Pirates team doing a good job catching the ball for the most part this year. Carlos Santana, 3 hits in the series. Another switch hitter in the lineup. One and one. Talked in the opening of the series about Gabe Kapler's feelings that Carlos Santana has had an outstanding start to the season. Just said totally disregard that batting average because he's hitting the ball as hard as anybody. And those hits will start to come.
Good exit velocities.
Yes, great exit velocities. In fact, his expected slugging percentage should be .585. Based on those exit velocity numbers. Right now it's just .309. Ivan Nova pitched well last night. And after the strikeout, a walk. Nova last night just didn't have any offensive support behind him.
No,
6 innings, 1 run, 5 hits.
What I liked about Nova too last night is I didn't think he had his normal type, command of things, but man, he knows how to make some adjustments out there, and he's been around a while now and did a good job fighting the elements. The win was just ridiculous. It gave the team an excellent chance to win if it gets score a run or two.
Dubel Herrera, 4 hits in the series. Boy, Brault has not gotten some calls right along the corner, top part of the zone. .343 average for Herrera. He has reached base safely going back to last year, 21 straight games. Goes back there again. Doesn't get the call.
Could be 0-2, according to the strike zone. But the umpire, at least right now, has to say his call.
Bounce towards short. Mercer gets one, and oh, that's a tough double play. He turned it and made it look easy. 1-0 Bucks. Mercer worrying about getting to the bag quickly, turns this into a double play.
You know, as he was fielding that, and I saw he had to make that quick jump to the bag, I thought, oh, they're not going to get it. Herrera runs very well.
Bell with a nice little pick on the short
you know,
hop.
what he does there is he starts his throwing motion, starts to throw the ball before he's ever even touched the bag, so that just before the ball comes out of his hand, his toe's hitting the base.
Ground ball, diving stop at second, but Hernandez gets to his feet. And by that time, it's too late, so Corey Dickerson with an infield single.
It's kind of hits have been hard to come by, so he will take that one. Sure is odd the way different teams have been defensing Dickerson there
really.
early on.
And Bell too, right?
I mean, some teams will have a big shift on him, which if they'd have been shifting, he'd be out.
Yeah.
But the Phillies just play him straight up, and it gets the infield hit.
That's been a big story when they hired Gabe Kapler. Kind of a big surprise in baseball. Kapler, the well-read social media enthusiast who has embraced the analytics, and their general manager, the Dartmouth product, Matt Klentak, bringing the Phillies up to speed in terms of the analytics, the numbers. So prevalent now in baseball. Fitness nut, Gabe Kapler. There goes Dickerson, and a breaking ball, and Cervelli fouls it off. Dickerson was on the move. The right side of the infield was wide open. Nola 3 starts in his career against the Bucks. 1-2, a 3.50 ERA lifetime.
Looks funny seeing a Pirate hitter not all bundled up.
Yeah.
Scarves.
It really does.
Long sleeves,
Yep.
heavy gloves.
Actually see their whole face.
Yeah.
And Herrera. Last night, speaking of pickoffs, take a look at this one. This is Phillies getting picked off. Herrera at third, Hoskins at first, and a crazy 1-3-4-2-5-8-7. That's Marte and Dickerson finishing up. A caught stealing as Herrera took off once Hoskins was picked off.
Craziest plays I think I've ever seen. What Hoskins was doing at first base was amazing. I mean, just kind of walking off the base and not even attempting to get back. Of course, he was out in no man's land. He would have been out easy. So I could understand why he would get in a rundown. But then obviously he had no clue how many outs there were. Because when the Pirates got the out at the plate, then he stopped thinking the inning was over. I think he had a lot of explaining to do when he got back in the clubhouse after that one.
Almost the entire 9 men on the field participated in that crazy play.
Yeah, I don't know why Polanco was just watching.
Yeah, that's right. Only guy who didn't get an assist. Pickoff try by the catcher, Alfaro. A lot of concern about Dickerson, who took off on one of the pitches to Cervelli. 2-1. Alfaro has thrown out 20% of the runners trying to steal so far this season, 2 for 10. Moran to first, Santana gets that out, and they turn it into a double play. Dickerson a leadoff hit, then a fly ball and a double play. Bucks leading 1-0. Here in Philadelphia. Rhys Hoskins will lead things off. Colin Moran hits the ball sharply, but right at Carlos Santana, and it's turned into a double play. So it's Hoskins, Franco, and Kingery against Steven Brault. Deep, but looking like it might be foul, and it will be. Hoskins, so impressive what he has done in his early major league career.
As long as he's not leading off first.
Yeah. Dangerous with the bat. First major league player who has debuted since 1900 with at least 20 homers, 45 walks in his first 250 career plate appearances. Could not hold his swing there. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Rhys Hoskins. Didn't come up to the big leagues until August of last year. August 10th to be exact, and still finished 4th in National League Rookie of the Year voting.
We talked a lot in spring training that you know, there's some young, really good-looking hitters on this Philly team, and they're going to score some runs this year.
Brault falls behind him, 3-2. Brault turns 26 in 8 days. The Mesa, California native. And that's hit hard to center. Marte has a beat on it. Toward the 409 marker. Brings up Michael Franco. Pirates begin a 3-game series against the Cardinals. The homestand starts Tuesday night against the Tigers, but then the Cardinals in. And the game, Umbrella Night, comes up. First 20,000 fans get to take home an umbrella on Friday night. Thanks to Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. 7:05 first pitch. It's coming Friday night. Umbrella Night. For tickets, go to Pirates.com. Bucks and Cardinals. Right now the Pirates lead in the National League Central Division, just a half game over St. Louis and Milwaukee. Cubs a game and a half back. Michael Franco went 2 for 3 last night. Possibility it stays in play. Bell giving chase, but it's maybe 2 rows back.
Well, Franco last night was really ripping the ball down the third baseline. He had one hit off Collins' glove, and then there was another play where Collin made a great backhand stab of a shot. One that went off his glove came off the bat at 112 miles an hour. It was absolute bullet down there.
And back that way, but foul.
That's very familiar to last night.
And he has been, for the most part, a dead pull hitter, like Cal Franco, in terms of those balls to the left side of the infield. There's the graphic.
Get ready at third.
Or Cervelli. Yeah, be ready at third anyway. He's going to throw it down to you. Second strikeout for Brault. For Brault, 13 punch-outs, 10 walks in his 21 innings of work this season. And ties up Scott Kingery. Was not in the starting lineup last night, was 1 for 3 on Thursday. Good looking pitch. 0-2.
That's the call that he wasn't getting in that first inning, that edge pitch. And you know, that's the kind of pitcher Brault is. He needs to get those things called strikes. Needs to be able to paint a little bit.
So it's still 0-2 on the foul ball.
Now, in the old days, young guys had to kind of be there a while before they would get that one with any kind of consistency. Maybe the more Brault pitches, the more he can prove to the umpires that he is going to stay on those edges. And there's another one. He didn't get the call. And he'll maybe get some of those pitches at the knees and on the corners.
That's not close. 2-2. Kingery signed the 6-year deal this spring through the year 2023, which also includes 3 separate options. Did he chase? Yes, according to the first base umpire, and Francisco Cervelli gathers the ball in and tags out Scott Kingery. Nick Lentz rings him up. Baseball right along as Josh Bell shares his vast and strenuous offseason workouts that keep him ready for the grueling Major League season. Plus, Pop Quiz reveals Bucks who are ready to have a breakout campaign. Those stories plus our top plays will debut tonight after Pirates postgame. And Jordy Mercer takes a strike. Nice to see his Buccos win today. Slow breaking ball from Nola. 0-2. His second strikeout.
The guys are having a hard time with that slow curveball today. We've seen a few give ground on it, back away, and then it'd be a strike. And this one here, it's pretty well out of the strike zone, and Jordy took a whack at it.
Brault looks at the fastball for a strike. 2 for 7 at the plate.
Got him at 2 strikes. I don't like it, Greg.
Foul territory for the out. And the streak is intact. Still has not struck out in the major leagues, but he is retired. Sean Rodriguez, part of the Instagram sent out today by Francisco Cervelli at the Rocky statue with Sean Rod and his friends. Cervelli.
See why Rocky could win those fights. See how long his arms are?
Yeah, yeah. Quite a reach.
Big reach advantage. Look at that. That's some long arms right there.
Yeah.
Yo, Adrian.
Oh, need those arms to hit that pitch. 0-2 again.
Nolan's got him searching for that hook.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that was a fastball, wasn't it, that Sean hit out of the ballpark in the first inning?
I think so. Wow. 1-2-3, 1-0 Pirates. Check out the Allegheny Health Network injury update. Couple of Cubs injuries. Ben Zobrist out the last few games, stiff lower back, could land on the DL. They also have placed Eddie Butler, the reliever, on the disabled list with a groin strain, and they bring up Luke Farrell to take his spot on the roster. Here is Aaron Altair. Joe Musgrove is going to have a sim game coming up, simulated game at PNC Park in a couple days, and then should head to rehab assignment, start building up his arm in the minors. Ball and 2 strikes on the right fielder. On Thursday, Joe Musgrove was out in the bullpen. We'll have another bullpen session tomorrow and then a simulated game on Wednesday. With a watchful eye there of Ray Searage. Bob had a chance to chat with before the game for his weekly radio show.
Every Saturday. Come up with a catchy title for it.
Ray's Rantings.
He doesn't really rant, though.
The Sage Searage. Yeah. Saturdays with Searage. The Sage.
Saturdays with Uncle Ray.
Oh, okay. Swing and a miss. And down on strikes number 4 for Stephen Brault. 3 in a row for the Buccos starter.
He's getting some decent chases. One of the important pitches at bat was that second one that fell behind and then threw a breaking ball for a strike, get back even in the count. Those are the things that kind of mess with hitters a little bit. Altair off to a slow start, although I don't know what his maybe slugging percentage is. What do you call that?
Expected?
Expected. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's.
I don't think he's hit the ball hard enough to have an expected slugging percentage.
I think everybody does. I mean, doesn't everyone have an expected slugging percentage?
I think where Altair is right now is about where is expected. Let's put it that way. No disrespect, but that's how he has struggled. Okay, Alfaro.
Now his is at 250, his actual slugging percentage, what he's actually doing on the field. I wonder what his expected is.
Whose?
Alfaro, his slugging percentage is 250.
Oh, and you're saying what you want?
Yeah, I'm curious what his.
Because you were curious about Altair a second ago.
Yeah, well, he was also not good.
2-1. Alfaro 7 hits in 40 at bats with 21 strikeouts.
What's interesting to me is I'm just kind of curious as to what guys would actually be hitting if it was a video game instead of real life.
3-1. Well, trying to shake that off. Last couple of pitches, not what he wanted to do. There you go.
Nice one there. Fastball on the hands. He wanted to do that. You know, you look at how he just dominated AAA last year. Obviously, we haven't seen the best of Brault yet. And I gotta believe a lot of that was just very inconsistent control first few times out of the. Now look at that, Greg. That's unbelievable. How could that be called a ball? That's the whole baseball's easily in the strike zone.
That is.
Watch this. Now remember, the camera is off center. There we go. Right overhead. Look at that. That ball crosses a huge part of the plate. That was just a bad miss by the umpire. And to be frank, it was a very bad miss by Cervalli also. I mean, that really made it look like it wasn't a strike, even though, as we could see from the overhead, it came right over the plate. Love the overhead.
Yep. One sacrifice bunt this season.
Yeah, it's really, I kind of was starting to have my doubts a little bit about our strike zone today until I saw that last overhead. And the overhead showed that pitch to be right where the strike zone said it was. Is this considered a day game after a night game?
This is, yes. Well, we'll go to first. Rodriguez covers, sacrifice, 2 outs. Cesar Hernandez, top of the order. Day games, Bucks are 8-0. Only undefeated team in baseball in day games. Hernandez struck out looking in the first. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Hernandez, there have been a couple of bizarre plays this series already, including the Cesar Hernandez 3-run single in the 2nd inning on Thursday night. J.P. Crawford was at first base and scored on a single to center field.
That happens 5 or 6 times a year, Greg.
No, it doesn't. In fact, the last time a Philly scored on a single from first base, it was Larry Boa. Back in 1979, he scored on a single by Jose Cardenal. That's how rare scoring from first base on a single is.
I'm going to go with Rock. It's not that rare.
Oh, Rock says it happens more often than
4 or 5 times a year.
Really?
I'm going to have to go with him on this.
Okay. Well, your expected correctness is off the mark. Now, how about that? 1979, the last time a Philly scored from first base on a single. So it really is rare. And I want to say Brian Giles was the last Pirate to score from first on a single.
Well, this could be a very good sign for us then.
That he's on second?
No. 79. That's the last time the Pirates won the World Series. Yeah, that's got to be tied together, right?
I would think so.
It's time for the Toyota all-wheel drive RAV4th inning. Toyota, what drives you?
Sean Rodriguez hit a leadoff home run of Aaron Nola. 1-0 through 3. Gregory Polanco to lead things off in the 4th. A little cool afternoon, but for the most part, a pleasant day here in the city of brotherly love, and they love their fanatic.
I think isn't the Fanatic 40 years old?
I think so.
This is his 40th year. I heard somebody saying that earlier today.
Polanco has popped up so far today, so he's 2 for 8 in the series.
Nice play.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, man.
Like Rocky.
That is pretty darn awesome right there.
Polanco's been sitting on 15 runs batted in. He had 2 home runs Thursday at Wrigley on the 12th of this month. His 4th and 5th home runs of the season. That he picked up his last RBI. Meantime, Aaron Nola, one of the Phillies, had a big scare a couple years ago. And Herrera has this in his sights for the first out. That'll bring up Starling Marte. Marte struck out in the first. Today's Barrel Automotive League leader stat: active players with the highest career average against the Phillies. Right behind Buster Posey, Starling Marte, lifetime .384. 1 for 7 in this series.
Get him on, get him running. First time up. Made him look bad. He was one of the guys that have been chasing those curveballs. Chased one way outside for strike 3.
After looking at a couple, one in particular right down the middle when he was showing bunt. Phillies thought Nola was going to have to undergo Tommy John surgery a couple years ago.
Healed itself.
Placed on the disabled list in August of 2016. Had the platelet-rich plasma injection from Dr. James Andrews after suffering that elbow injury in the middle of July. Sprained ulnar collateral ligament and strained flexor tendon. Now, there are some pitchers who just, when they get to that point, decide to undergo Tommy John surgery, replace the ligament entirely, but he and the Phillies decided to try and go through the rehab process, some rest, and the PRP injections, and worked out. So, called third strike.
It's kind of like a flat tire. You put a plug in it, or do you go ahead and put the spare on?
Yeah.
You know, it's
very similar.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Getting out the spare, the jack, it's a little more work. Takes longer. Definitely got a borderline pitch that time. Got a couple of that at bat. Marte not happy with that call. Change up. Haven't seen Noah throw too many of those. Pirates are not hitting.
Nope.
Simple as that. And they need to. I mean, one of the things we talked about, you know, all winter and going into the season, going into spring training, they need to improve that offense from last year especially.
And the offense got off to such a strong start. Two and one on Bell.
Clint working over some chewing gum.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that in a while.
He's been chewing that gum lately, the last couple years. Oh, now Nola gets that call.
He's, I mean, they're right on the edge of the strike zone. They're strikes, but they need to go both ways.
That's probably what Clint Hurdle was just saying.
How about when Brault's out there?
Lifted to left. Hoskins. And the Pirates go down for the second straight inning in order. Still leading it 1-0. Well, the Reds, Paul, are just really struggling, obviously. 3-16. The Reds. This will be their 4th straight loss. 10 of their last 11.
Already have a new manager.
Yeah.
New pitching coach.
Yep.
It's a mess.
And that, of course, is a franchise with a long, rich history, some great teams, the Cincinnati Reds, but they have really fallen on hard times. Carlos Santana. 1-2 count. Stephen Brault has walked a couple.
Hitting some strikeouts too today, though.
Struck out 4.
Makes up for him.
Walked Santana in the first. Dickerson in left.
That one had good exit velocity, but bad angle of attack.
New stat, AOA, the angle of attack. What the projected angle of attack would be. Well, trying to attack hitters, that's for sure. Bob talked about throwing more strikes, better command. Odubel Herrera bounced into an inning-ending double play in the first. Lined toward Marte. Ball really started to take off. Marte stuck with it.
A little bit easier for those outfielders this afternoon.
There's a breeze, but nothing like the gusting wind had here in the first couple days. And he's talking about how it took off.
He had no idea what was going to happen on every fly ball. It was like the pop flies in the infield were even worse. Frazier was telling Joe that, I mean, he played both outfield and the infield. I guess he said because he was further away from that big scoreboard in the infield, you could feel the wind even more than when you got it into the outfield.
Rhys Hoskins lined out to center field in the second. Two 2-0 on the 25-year-old Sacramento native. 5th round pick 4 years ago. 139 RBIs last year combined in the minors and majors. Most by any player. Cervelli felt that.
I don't know what that pitch was. 87 miles an hour. Here we'll get a good look at it. Slider, I guess.
Three and one on Hoskins. Stephen Broad, originally drafted by the Orioles in 2013, 11th round pick out of Regis University in Denver. It's the third walk. Had a 1-2-3 second. And has walked a man in the other innings. Michael Franco.
Get ready, Colin. It'll be a ground ball to third. Play deep. Give yourself plenty of room so you can move left and right.
Clint Hurdle went out of his way, by the way, today to point out, apparently after the game, he suggested that the Pirates should have thrown home on the run that scored in the 6th inning. Carlos Santana was at third, Odubel Herrera at first when Rhys Hoskins hit the ball to Moran. But he said, I want to make sure to mention that we went back and looked, and the Pirates had a double play possibility. Line drive, and Polanco plays it on the hop and then fires toward third. And it's first and third. The first hit of the day belongs to Michael Franco.
Yeah, crossed everybody up, including me. Decided not to pull the ball this time, and it paid off for him. Ball down and away. Down, maybe middle of the plate.
Hoskins to third, as you see Dusty Wathen, the third base coach, telling him to get down. Franco has the first Phillies hit, and Scott Kingery to the plate. Kingery with a dozen runs batted in. 2 homers. Brault has given up 2 home runs his first 4 outings.
As Harry used to say, they have high hopes for this young guy. Kingery.
There's Moran. And on to first. For the final out, a couple of men left on base. Good work so far from Brault. 1-0 Pirates lead it through 4.
Sportsnet is brought to you by Barrel Automotive. Our service centers are now open evenings and weekends. Visit barrelservice.com for more. And by Allegheny Health Network, official medical provider of the Pittsburgh Pirates and fans like you. Let's go Bucks!
1-0. Refer to Harry a lot. Harry Callis, the great late Hall of Fame, longtime voice of the Philadelphia Phillies, the Harry Callis broadcast booth. There's Tom McCarthy. It looks like Michael Jack Schmidt doing some color this weekend next to Tom. 1-1 on Corey Dickerson and Ben Davis.
Chaos in there for a moment.
Yeah, like a Pirate broadcast booth. Chaos. How good was he?
Oh,
Bob?
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Gold Glover on defense and a game changer with the bat for sure.
Well, Dickerson is going to be 2 for 2. Third hit for the Pirates. Dickerson has 2 of them. Sean Rodriguez homered to start the game. See if the Bucks can't cash in. He got the leadoff hit in the second, but Cervelli flied out. Dickerson tried to run at one point during the Cervelli at bat, but Cervelli fouled to pitch off, and then Colin Moran hit into a double play. Yeah, Cervelli fan. It was good to see just a good number of fans in the stands. The sun, as Bob said, you get to see the players a little bit now. You can move around a little bit.
Yeah, starting the season in Alaska.
I pay attention to Dickerson.
Cervelli, say, we don't get any of those. Cervelli for sure is thinking, okay, that was a close pitch. But what he's talking about right now is the ones he's been catching that haven't been called, not that particular pitch. This is the toughest time I've seen a team have with a curveball in a long time. And we're not talking about one of those really hard snapdragons, you know, like AJ used to throw a 83, 84 mile an hour swing and miss curveball. Mid-70s curveball that guys just aren't seeing well for some reason. It's breaking more than they are anticipating it to break, I guess.
Wow. Just keeps going to it. 5 Ks for Nola.
That one there, really the last two, for the absolute perfect spot, which goes a long ways for the swing and a miss, but still.
Same situation Pirates were in the second. Well, the 76ers just beat the Miami Heat.
I was wondering what all the fanfare was about.
NBA playoffs, and they reacted here. It's been a good year in sports in Philadelphia. Villanova just recently won the NCAA championship. Of course, the Eagles coming off the Super Bowl victory.
Even, I mean, the Phillies off to a good start after they fell on their face out of the blocks, but all in all, right now they're looking pretty decent.
On a strike on Colin Moran.
Obviously, they're, if not yet, they will be very disappointed in the Flyers.
Just a matter of time.
Yep.
Trust the process. 76ers fans fired up.
Trust the process.
Aaron Nola with the left side of the infield wide open.
No, early in the year, it seemed like he would shoot one that way at will. First week of the season, he and Dickerson both were just, when that opportunity was given to them, they would take that hit the other way.
Strikes out number 6.
The curveball is just not even getting foul tipped, really, is it?
No.
Just, and this is not one that's right on the edge anywhere. That's kind of a middle of the plate and awfully close to thigh high.
Nola, who had a really a record-breaking stretch of games, stretch of starts last year.
That ball must really just be biting at the end, and it, you know, when you're looking from center field, maybe it's just not doing it justice. But
obviously, by the hitters,
it's got to be. I'm guessing the RPMs have to be up there quite high, and we'll get a read of that in a little while.
8th among National League starters last year in strikeouts per 9 innings.
What do they call that? Spin rate?
Spin rate.
Let's see if I can.
He's still at first with now 2 down.
Spin rate used to be what we do.
One and one on Mercer. So Nola, 2 or fewer earned runs. Struck out 7 or more in 7 straight starts from the middle of June toward the end of July. The only Phillies pitcher to do that since earned runs began to be recorded in 1912. When you think about some of the great pitchers they've had over the years, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. As long as they have,
including the late great Roy Halladay.
As long as they get Arrieta to pitch like he did 2 nights ago, they're going to have a pretty darn good 1-2 punch.
Yeah. So Mercer misses that fastball and get ready for that curveball.
The spin rate on his curveballs have been around 2,600. That last one, in fact, was well above 2,600 RPM. And curveballs on average that are 2,600 or higher, the league batting average is less than 200. So
there you go.
He's spinning it.
That's the bottom line. Wow, there's a fastball right down the middle.
And the old way to tell he's got a good curveball is watching him swing and miss it. So you get 2 different ways: a high-tech way and watching the game.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him looking. Strikes out the side in order after the hit by Dickerson. 7 punch outs for Nola. Bucks leading 1-0. This day in Pirates history, 1991, Bucks make history. First team in Major League Baseball history to overcome a 5-run deficit in extra innings. Beat the Cubs 13-12. Andre Dawson grand slam top of the 11th. Gives the Cubs a 5-run lead. And then the bottom half, Jay Bell, 2-run double. Andy Van Slyke, a sacrifice fly. Barry Bonds, RBI single. Don Slaught, the walk-off 2-run double. Back in 1991. Do you remember that one, Bob?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on here to the bottom of the 5th. Aaron Altair actually will lead things off here in the bottom of the 5th.
I know our win probability was not very high.
No, it was
when we were down by 5.
single digits. Single digits. It was like 2%. Bottom third of the order. Stephen Brault, his dad's here. Dan, enjoying watching his son pitch.
Oh, he's loving this.
Yeah. And I tell you, talking about a baseball crazed family. Well, Stephen and his 3 older brothers couldn't help but be baseball fans. Here's Dan, would bring his kids on a summer baseball trip across the country every year. He'd take a couple weeks off of work and they would travel and go to different ballparks. Road trips in a motor home. In fact, they've been to Philadelphia before. Dad, Stephen, and his 3 brothers, but that was back when the Phillies were playing at the Vet and the Pirates were playing at Three River Stadium. They made a trip to Pittsburgh and Philadelphia 20+ years ago. And toward right center, Polanco.
The days of the big rivalry.
Yeah. Altera retired, brings up Jorge Alfaro. Stephen's dad, Dan, was born in Norfolk. His grandfather, his dad's dad, was in the Navy. So they traveled all over the country. His dad, Dan, there. His father was a big Red Sox fan. He was born in Hartford, Connecticut. And in particular, a Carl Yastrzemski fan. He just adored Yaz, and wouldn't you know it, Stephen Brault was drafted the same year as Yaz's grandson, both in the Orioles organization. So he got to know Mike Yastrzemski. Pirates acquired Brault in the Travis Snyder deal in February of 2015. Two and one on Alfaro. Brault had a 1-2-3 second. Got out of a mini jam last inning. First and third, 2 outs. Got Scott Kingery to ground out. Falls behind 3-1.
He's working because of pitch count. He's kind of working on maybe a 6th inning start today. So by the end of next inning, going to be pushing close to that 100 pitch mark, you would think. Number 79.
Well, this is where it was 3-2 in the third against Alfaro. Remember, he threw a pitch that was well within the zone but didn't get the call. So it's 3-2 again on Alfaro. This time a fly ball to Dickerson. 2 outs. Come on out to the ballpark next Saturday. Middle game of the 3-game series with the Cardinals at PNC Park. 7:05 first pitch, and after the game, a great Zambelli fireworks show presented by 93.7 The Fan. Get your tickets. Go to pirates.com/fireworks. Bucks Cardinals. Zambelli fireworks sponsored by 93.7 The Fan. That all the 93.7 The Fan hosts are going to be on hand to count down the fireworks. It'll be fun to see Andrew Filipponi and Ron Cook and Starkey and Muller, Colin Dunlap. 2-0 the count. On Aaron Nola. And line to the second baseman. So 1-2-3. Out of the fifth for Stephen Brault, matching Aaron Nola, in fact leading 1-0.
Okay here. It is a 1-0 game in favor of the Pirates over the Phillies here as we hit inning number 6. I'm Robbie and Smikowski. Well, yesterday, the Miracle League of Central Mississippi held their opening day for the brand new field, the first ever of its kind in the state of Mississippi. And what a moment it was. Back in 2014, we interviewed a 12-year-old named Joseph Voynick from Jackson, Mississippi, a huge Pirates fan who had a dream of raising the funds to build this Miracle League field. And what a day it was yesterday as we see some fantastic shots. And of course, there was a team called the Pirates, one of the 6 teams to get things started. So back in 2014, we interviewed Joseph, and here we are over 4 years later, Greg and Bob, with the Miracle League field in Ridgeland, Mississippi, just outside of Jackson. Now is equipped for special needs baseball players to play the game we all know and love. Now, Joseph, get this, as a 12-year-old, presented himself to local businesses, gave his business pitch, raised over $500,000 to get it built. Not only that, last year, he was named Mississippi's Outstanding Young Philanthropist for 2017. Huge Bucko fan, and it all started with an interview we did back in 2014. And how about that? The first ever Miracle League field, Corey Dickerson, hopefully can pay that field a visit. He lives in Mississippi after the baseball season comes to a close, guys. Fantastic stuff.
Tremendous story, Robbie. Thank you. Stephen Brault steps in against Aaron Nola. 1-0 thanks to the leadoff home run by Sean Rodriguez. Brault fouled out to left fielder Reese Hoskins his first time up against Nola, who has allowed 2 singles since the leadoff home run by that man.
I think Brault hit a home run in his career.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, multiple home runs?
Oh my gosh, don't you? Oh,
He's kind of a line drive average guy. I don't know.
He's into the exit velocity and the launch angle stuff, so he'll definitely crank a handful out.
I mean,
before.
I think he'll definitely be a lifetime 2-something hitter, but he's got that. He lays back, tries to go up the middle, he line drives.
You always run into one once in a while if you're a good hitter. You know? He can't help but hit one out of here at some point.
I think that applies more to bad hitters because they're always swinging for the fences every pitch. And so they might run into one.
So line drive hitters.
Brault is like he's.
Line drive hitters don't hit home runs. Oh, he wanted one there.
Swinging for the fences.
Yeah. Stephen Brault has 7 hits in his career. By the way, Bob, I got a trivia question for you. In the last 40 years, 8 Pirates pitchers over their careers collected at least 50 hits. Can you name half of them?
8.
Yep. And that streak is still intact as Brault does not strike out but grounds out. Last 40 years, 8 Pirates pitchers collected 50 or more hits. Name 4 of them.
Okay, I will go with Robinson.
Donnie Robinson is 1.
Roden.
Rick Roden is 2.
The guy whose brother played for the Royals, Ken
Brett.
Ken Brett.
He is not one of them.
Oh, how
He
can he
didn't,
not
he,
be
he
one of
didn't
them?
play for the Pirates long enough.
Not that long. Okay. All right. Let's see, 50 years.
Last 40 years.
40 years.
8 Pirates pitchers
hits.
collected 50 hits.
Candelaria.
Candelaria is 3.
Okay. Going here.
Oh, 1-2 on Sean Rodriguez.
Jim Bibby.
No. Again, Bibby didn't pitch very long with
Is
the
there a
Pirates.
limit to how many guesses I can?
No,
am I getting low?
obviously not.
Oh, so I can just. Well, I've only missed 2 so
Okay,
far.
well, there's no limit. We're just going to make sure you get. This is kind of the fix is in with you in these trivia questions. We make sure you always win.
I'm thinking.
Doesn't matter how long it takes or how many
I'm
guesses.
thinking.
I know you are.
How about Blass? Is Blass one of them?
Blass is not one of them.
Oh, how could that be?
Well, you're going back to 1974, 40 years. So Blass, his career started in the 60s. So
Man, he's
not
pretty
on that
old.
list.
I forgot how old he was. I'm gonna point out to him that you just pointed that out. Okay, we have Roden, Candelaria, Robinson. And that's the only 3 I have so far.
Correct.
I need 1 more.
Yep. By the way, look at the pitches. No strikes thrown yet, but it's 2-2 on Sean Rodriguez. Chopper. Franco tries to barehand instead of go with a glove, and it'll be a base hit for Sean Rodriguez.
Yeah, too much side spin on it.
His second hit. And the 4th hit for the Pirates.
Yeah, that last bounce it went sideways on him. Right there. Well, not going to be able to reach it now.
Allegheny Health Network Supermo. Brings up Polanco, who has popped up twice. Do you want a hint?
Was it somebody I played with?
Yes.
Man. Could it have been Doug?
Yes. Doug Drabick.
Wow. Nice going, Dougie.
Do you want to hear the other 4?
Yeah, definitely.
Jim Rooker.
Should have got that
Yeah.
one. That was one I should have got.
Jerry Royce.
Okay.
Bruce Keeson. And Bob Walk.
Oh, really?
Correct.
Oh, well, I had no
How
idea.
about
I got
that?
50 hits. That's.
A tip of the cap.
Well, you know what I would do is I would hold my hands up higher.
I know.
Like if,
I know.
okay.
Yeah, I used to watch you.
No, I had no idea. That's,
Yep.
that's pretty impressive on my part.
It is. Always the humble one.
Look at that, another. That's a strike.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
You're supposed to be doing that to yourself.
I can't reach
yeah.
anymore. I have to
Pat
get
myself on the
my
back.
left shoulder.
Yeah.
I gotta.
Look at this.
All that time I used to take in a batting cage. Okay, yeah. Overhead shot showed that ball clearly over the dirt.
My gosh.
It was not a strike. I could have hit that pitch, but not many guys can.
No. Obviously. People want to know what Bob's expected slugging percentage might have been. 0-2 on Polanco. Well, Polanco had 2 hits yesterday and a walk. His average right now at that Mendoza line, 200 batting average. We pass along a hearty congratulations to great Pirates fan Adam Zarowski. Married Monica O'Donnell last Saturday at St. Vincent Basilica in Latrobe. They're on their honeymoon, but I know the family's watching, and wish Adam and Monica a nice trip back, and look forward to seeing them back at PNC Park. As that one misses to Polanco. Starling Marte to follow. Another strikeout, number 8 for Nola.
It's all off-speed, slow stuff. Way out in front. And that really, Greg, if you do have a long swing, I mean, that's what you end up being really overly susceptible to, is the changing in speeds. Because it's much tougher to keep any kind of timing when you're having to commit to your swing so early.
Marte has struck out twice, once swinging and once looking. And he pops this one up. And look at this ball drop. Look at Sean Rodriguez headed for the plate. What a play by Sean Rodriguez. This veteran took nothing for granted. He was on the dead sprint on what looked like a routine pop-up, and he scores from first base.
On a single, you'd never see that.
2-0.
How often do you see somebody score from first base on a single?
That's right, first time since 2001.
That's amazing, isn't it? But this is how you do it. Well, look at Joey. Joey's good. Come on, come on.
Give Cora credit. Joey Cora.
4 or 5 times a year you see that.
Yeah. How about that?
Twice now already.
That is unbelievable. Looked like Herrera didn't give Hernandez much help there.
No, none. Now, last night I would have blamed it on the wind, but the wind's not really doing much right now.
2-0 Pirates. That could be an absolute huge run in a pitcher's duel. Yeah, give Joey Cora credit for being aggressive. A nice slide there from Rodriguez.
Yeah, Joey, as he was kind of coming around second base, you could see Joey was trying to get his attention. They're like, hey, come on, pick it up. You got to go hard. I think Joey saw what was happening out there, that hey, this has a chance of falling in.
Yeah, Herrera never seemed to come in for that ball, and
no, I think Herrera just assumed that was going to be an easy out, just a pop fly.
So give Marte an RBI. You never know. You put the ball in play, what might happen. That is wild. Back-to-back nights, players score off a single from first base. That's baseball. Watch it again. What does Herrera do here?
Well, he broke back. He took a step back, but he still could have got there easy if he wanted to.
sharply hit at Franco. And the Pirates steal one there. Thanks to a good base running. Third base coach Joey Cora. Good dive to the plate by Sean Rod. Rodriguez scoring from first base on this pop-up, the shallow center. Looked as though Herrera would make the catch. Second baseman Hernandez goes out. And there's Joey Cora waving him home. And it started with the infield single with Sean Rodriguez. A bunt try by Hernandez.
Mr. Play Anywhere at any time. Second base today.
To right, Polanco. Well, how nice would it be if the Pirates get 6 out of Brault?
They should be able to get 6. Sitting at what, 83, 84 pitches?
Just in case he gets into any trouble, Michael Felice is loosening the Pirates bullpen.
Well, I think if he gets the next 2 outs in a row, we'll probably be in the low 90s. Normally, that's when they make their move. Somebody gets into the 90s. Another borderline pitch goes the other way.
Cervelli asking a home plate umpire about it now. Lance Barrett, looks like.
Cervelli doesn't get upset very often, but I think his patience is starting to be stretched.
And I think he's trying to be polite about it, and looks like Barrett is saying, I don't want to hear anything more from you. Here comes Clint Hurdle. You think that's about what is going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not reading lips or anything, but there's been an awful lot of close pitches not be called. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that they're like down the middle, obviously, but there was only one that was really almost down the middle and didn't. Well, okay. Counts right. Like, see, all you have to do is talk a little bit. Squeaky wheel gets the oil, or doesn't it?
Ah, got a piece. No, I got a piece of Santana. The way Lance Barrett reacted. Barrett put his arms up like it hit him.
Yeah, called time. Looked like it did hit him.
They're going to challenge this.
Why would you call time on that? Right? Correct? Why would you put your hands up and call time?
I mean,
unless it hit him or
right. Yeah. Well, maybe you're not going to challenge. Maybe he's going to ask, why did you put your arms up?
That's what I'd be asking. That's what I'd be asking.
Oh, they are going to challenge it.
If it didn't hit him, why didn't you just say ball?
Bill Welke, the crew chief, will join Lance Barrett on the headsets. Is this definitive? Does it hit his jersey?
Oh, yeah, sure it did. I think you can see it in both angles. I mean, it doesn't have to, there's no rule about how hard you have to get hit. If it just brushes the jersey, I mean, look at, who was it?
Hoskins.
Hoskins, yeah. Same thing. It just barely brushed the guard.
So he is hit by the pitch. No, I'm sorry. It was Kingery the other night. Got grazed.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah.
Kingery? It was just barely touched his elbow guard. But it doesn't matter. Barely is all it takes.
Dubel Herrera now faces Stephen Brault. Last time up, he lined out to center. Has reached base safely in 21 straight games going back to last season. Stephen Brault. See, this next pitch going to be number 90. Bob talked about how well he pitched in the minor leagues last couple years. Last season, a 1.94 ERA at AAA Indianapolis to lead the International League.
You got to be pretty darn good, any league, to put up those kind of numbers. Uncle Ray. Saturday Sage.
Oh, that's right. So we'll come up with a name for the radio show. Hashtag Bucks Booth if you want to try and come up with a name.
Well,
suggestions.
Steve has to approve this in the final form.
Oh, it does? Steve
yes.
has the final approval?
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, because he's the elder statesman of the interview crew.
I see.
And so if there's going to be a name put on it, it's got to be okayed by the old man. As soon as he gets back from the Caribbean from his vacation.
2-2. Brault probably has to get Herrera with Felice ready in the bullpen.
You know, I think that Ray, Steve, and I all have a fairly substantial amount of gray hair. It could be like a gray hair Saturday. Huh? No, well, that wouldn't be bad. Oh, Truck just had a great with Silver Saturday.
Silver Saturday? Yeah. I could fill in on Saturdays if need be.
Yeah, if you had to, yeah, you got a little bit going on there.
Oh, Ray liked that one. He'll really like it if Brault can get Herrera. Ground ball, base hit. Will put runners at first and third.
Well, anytime you get somebody to leave the strike zone down and away and pull the ball, you're probably going to get a ground ball. This was just unlucky on Brault's part. I mean, this is a bad ball, down and away. Barely can reach it. He pulls it, rolls over on it, puts it on the ground, but you got a big hole over there. So it's a base hit, and that means double switch.
Well, just the second hit for the Phillies. Steven Brault goes 5 1/3. He'll leave with a lead. Michael Felice will be coming on here.
By the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
2-0 Pirates leading first and third for the Phillies. 1 out, bottom of the 6th. David Freese takes over at first base. His double switch. Bat on the 9th spot. Josh Bell made the last out on the top of this inning, so Michael Felice will hit in the 4-hole.
Been doing an excellent job since that opening day. Getting the strikeouts like we knew he would. Use one of those right here.
Felice faced 4 batters in last night's game. Struck out 2 of them. Did not face Hoskins. Struck out Andrew Knapp and J.P. Crawford. Gave up a base hit to Michael Franco, who's on deck.
That sign means a 2-seam fastball. Right down the pipe. Strike 2.
Hoskins has drawn 18 walks now for the Phillies this season, while striking out 18 times.
Braun hoping for a strikeout, or of course better yet would be a double play ball. Either one of those.
The 18,
nice.
I'm sorry. 18 walks, the most on the Phillies. That's a foul ball. Impressive.
Impressive foul ball. the same as like a great big swing and a miss by Baez, you know, where he falls down. It's impressive, but it's still a strike. Same thing.
Another 0-2 pitch from Feliz to Hoskins. There's Franco on deck. We get Wood on that 97-mile-per-hour fastball.
The knees.
Down at the knees.
But he was probably hoping just to foul that one off.
The breaking pitch was drilled foul. As Brault and Tyler Glass now converse. And this is deep. And the Phillies take the lead. Rhys Hoskins homers on the 1-2 pitch. 3-2.
Well, Greg, I think this was all about location. You know, the breaking ball got hit hard, foul. Why not come back with more, but don't hang him. Throw him in a good spot. But instead, they kind of got to where, okay, well, he's got the breaking ball. We're just going to have to go power. He threw the one really good fastball that he fouled off to stay alive. But look at this one. Right down the middle. Belt high, gone.
Exactly right.
It was more about location than it was pitch selection there. I really think they got afraid of the breaking ball there because it got hit hard foul, which to me is actually a positive. When you hang a bad breaking ball and it gets hammered foul, use that in, you know, in your thinking about maybe a pitch later. Well, you know, he's not really worried about the breaking ball. He thinks he's got it covered. Well, I hung that one. Now I'm going to throw him a
decent one. Yeah.
Now I'm going to throw him a good one. But they just kept powering at him, and that one just belt high, middle of the plate, 3-run homer.
His 4th home run of the season. When Hoskins gets behind, it's not like he's easy to put away. Hoskins, 2 strikes. This season, an OPS of 976. Chris Bryant of the Cubs, Joe Panik of the Giants.
That's an actual OPS, right?
Yeah, that's not projected. Franco down on strikes. Rhys Hoskins took the major league by storm last year when he came up August the 10th. Bunch of home runs. He's hit 4 now and has 18 RBIs this season. The book closed on Stephen Brault. He gives up 2 runs and 5 1/3.
Just 2 hits.
Edgar Santana. Scott Kingery has struck out and grounded out. And staying with the fastball. Inning started with a Cesar Hernandez line out to right, and then Carlos Santana just grazed by a pitch. And Feliz gets a couple of strikeouts, but Rhys Hoskins does the damage. Phillies now lead it. Hoskins acknowledging the fans up there in left field, applauding his efforts, the home run that has given the Phillies the lead. Corey Dickerson starts things off in the 7th against Aaron Nola. Dickerson with 2 of the Pirates' 5 hits.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
Oh,
keep
no.
trying. Keep trying. You got it.
Yes.
Never give up.
Great effort.
Don't ever give up. Hope he dumped the dirt out of his hat before he put it on.
A fly ball. Herrera this time sprinting into center field.
Oh,
This time he'll make the catch.
I thought
The
that
second
was,
baseman Hernandez, very similar to the ball that Marte hit last inning.
didn't that look dangerous though, Craig?
Yeah.
I mean, Herrera was just coming in like a freight train.
Yeah, he wasn't going to have that happen again.
No. And I didn't know if Hernandez was going to be able to get out of the way in time.
Great look there. You can see him say, I got it at the last moment, and Hernandez veers off.
That's why when you're yelling, it's got to be at the top of your lungs. And if there's a third party involved, have him start yelling too, so that yelling somebody's name so that the other person gets out of there.
Well, Getty Health Network Supermo look at Herrera calling for it.
Had to come a long ways for that one too, it looked like.
Yeah.
Way back there. Deep again. He plays it pretty deep center field, period. Of course, it is a one-run ball game. Trying to guard against a little bit, not necessarily playing no doubles, but in the back of the mind. Rather give up a single than a double, protecting his slim lead in the last 3 innings. The ball carries so well here too. As an outfielder here, you gotta think that a lot of stuff's going to be back over your head. Ever since they built it, a very good hitter's ballpark. Ball carries shorter dimensions.
Place opened up April 2004.
Garrett Jones hit one over the batter's eye.
Yeah.
Dead center field.
Second baseman Hernandez on the short hop. Nice little play. 2 down. We bring up Colin Moran, and we had a very special happy birthday wish going out. We're going to turn 100 in a couple days. We're having a big birthday party for him. A great baseball player from Indiana County, Joe Hudak.
Well, happy birthday, Joe.
Yeah, pitcher infielder for several teams, independent league teams, Indiana County.
Had a good drop and an upshoot.
Yeah, that's right. Happy birthday, Joe. And to his family celebrating with him, and having a watch party right now, watching the Bucks. Colin Moran hit into double play and struck out. 8 Ks for Nola. He's now at 91 pitches. To figure they're still going to be extremely careful with him after Gabe Kapler received all kinds of grief pulling Aaron Nola on opening day. 68 pitches into a 3-hit shutout. It turned into a blown 5-run lead. 2 days later, Kapler signaled for a relief pitcher who had not warmed up. Disgruntled fan base at the start, but now they're starting to grow to like Gabe Kapler.
Wins will do that for you, won't they?
Isn't that how that happens?
Yeah.
Colin Moran with a fly ball toward the corner. Foul. Gabe Kapler, really a cascade of boos greeted him opening day here in Philadelphia. Just 5 games into the season, the Phillies were 1-4. And Kapler took it all in stride. Said, I think the boos are saying that I haven't built up enough trust with fans yet. There you see Moran just kind of half swinging it toward the left side. And he's going to get a hit out of it.
Yep. That's why not? I mean, you watch that swing and tell me what he was trying to do. Hit a ground ball left side. I mean, he was behind in the count, correct?
Yep.
And so, not going to sit here and try to pump a ball over the fence. He's just going to, I'm going to
get on base.
I'm going to stay back and just get a single here. Now, early in the count, or if, let's say he was at a 3-1 count, I don't want him ticking the ball to the left side, but I want him trying to drive a ball then. But in the count that he was in, yeah, just be defensive and get on base.
couple of breaking balls. First one was a strike. Aaron Nola trying to get through this 7th inning. .103 pitches thrown, 2 starts back. Drive to left toward the foul pole, and it is foul. Like it had a chance to have home run distance, but then well, he didn't know what to root for. Maybe not. Nola does not give up many home runs.
Yeah, Hoskins is really playing a long ways in the left center, because that ball was in the air a long time, and he never came close to getting there in time to try and catch that ball.
Toward right, and foul ball. Oh, Mercer flirts with both corners here.
Yeah, that one a little tougher to sneak in there. Altier was kind of guarding the line, or on the other side over in left field you got Hoskins. He's playing a good 100 feet off the line. Plenty of room in that left field corner. That's where he wants to go with it. If he can get one fair down there, he's got a chance of scoring Moran from first base. Right idea. Rip it into that corner.
Mercer struck out swinging in the 3rd, looking his last time up in the 5th. Another 1-2 pitch. Lays off. Double barrel action for the Phillies in their bullpen. As Nola close to reaching the end. Hard to imagine he would face Freeze if Mercer reaches. He knows it. Wants to finish this thing off. And he will with a strikeout. Number 9. It's the 3rd time he gets Mercer. Phillies have the lead, 3-2.
TNT Sportsnet is brought to you by the Chevy Silverado and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Levin's, the official furniture and mattress supplier to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the best quality, service, and value, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
So Jordy Mercer battled Aaron Nola, but Nola ended up beating him, and he's done for the day, and he has a chance to beat the Pirates. Thanks to the Rhys Hoskins home run off Felice. Now Edgar Santana takes over for the Pirates in the 7th.
Well, Santana will try to hold the fort, not let the lead get any bigger than just the 1 run.
Line drive, Marte back a few steps.
He's got it.
Altair is the first out. Well, Sundays are Kids Days at PNC Park, and coming up this next homestand, the Kids Day against the Cardinals at 1:35. A week from tomorrow, all kids 14 and under will get a mini bat thanks to Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield together with Allegheny Health Network. Go to pirates.com/kidsdays. 1 week from tomorrow, the final game of the upcoming 6-game homestand. 3 with Detroit and 3 with St. Louis. The Fightin' Phils leading the Pirates 3-2. Hey, Alfaro walked against Brault, hit a ball to the warning track in the 5th. Brotherly love, sisterly love. Catcher Alfaro. Here's Santana. And a base hit. Well, the Pirates trailing 3-2 and hoping to come back and win this one, and that will give them a chance to even the series with a W tomorrow on the Nissan road ahead. Trevor Williams for the Pirates, Nick Pivetta for the Phillies. Coverage starts at 1 o'clock.
Both pitchers off to a pretty good start. Nice ERAs.
Nick Williams bats for Aaron Nola. Six hits, 2 runs, 7 innings for Nola. No walks and 9 strikeouts. Luis Garcia up in the Phillies bullpen.
Kind of interesting with Williams when he wears the red helmet. He's got one of those face guards on it. When he wears the blue one or the maroon one, he goes no face guard. Must feel safer in that color. Last night he had face guard on, red helmet. Maroon? No. Yeah.
Was he facing a left-hander?
No, don't believe so.
Down on strikes.
I think it was a right-hander.
So Santana strikes out the pinch hitter.
No, I think it's like the color. I really do.
You really do.
Oh, I know it is. Yeah, the maroon one on first night. No face guard. Or a red one had a face guard. It was a blue one, no face guard. It's the color. Simple as that.
Simple as that. Mendez 0 for 3. Couple of lineouts his last 2 times up. And so Cervelli going to make.
We got plenty to burn.
Yeah,
we don't have any. So if there's something going on, no reason to hesitate. And I think, Greg, we have found that we can. I know it's early in the season, but as it turned out, when they made it 6, they really knew what they were doing. That's plenty. That's plenty. Nobody's really been pushing the envelope on the number of visits at all.
But there's no question it has cut back on the visits by catchers.
Oh, tons.
Yep. And like you pointed out too, that we don't see the pitching coach come out every time a pinch hitter is announced for a scouting report, like we would have seen just moments ago when Nick Williams was announced as the pinch hitter.
There would have been a visit.
Yeah, Ray Searage would have come out. Right side, Rodriguez to freeze. Scoreless 7th for Santana. Let's see if the Pirates can do something against the Phillies bullpen. Quite a pitcher's duel between Aaron Nola for the Phillies and the Pirates' Stephen Brolt, who was pitching the shutout going into the 6th inning. Got the first out, but then Carlos Santana nicked by a pitch. Udbel Herrera, a ground single to right, just the 2nd hit for the Phillies. Clint Hurdle brought on Michael Felice, and Rhys Hoskins hit the 3-run homer. As Cervelli talks with young pitcher Edgar Santana. Here is Luis Garcia. Last night Garcia pitched a 1-2-3-8 to Josh Bell, and Corey Dickerson lined out against him. David Freese first at bat. Freese came on a double switch in the 1st. Jake Arrieta, sunglasses on today.
That first night, the guys all said the next day that was the most miserable night to play in the entire year. Now, we've been in some cold weather, but that was the most. After the game, Arrieta comes out to take pictures or have his picture taken with no shirt on.
Cut off t-shirt
with no shirt on.
and shorts.
Everybody's saying it's absolutely frigid out there. So much for, you know, covering up your arm with a coat or something.
Strike 3 called. He's not in agreement.
No, he's not going to be happy with that one. It's just barely nicking the outside corner. The call went to Garcia. Watch it. Right on the very edge. You can see that. Look how far the catcher moves his glove after he catches it. Basically telling everybody, hey, that was a ball. I got to move it 6 inches. I always thought that it was like when you see a catcher catch a ball and then move his glove a bunch. It's like, why don't you just tell everybody it was a ball? But it didn't seem to matter there. Still got the call.
Sean Rodriguez started this game with a home run. Opposite field.
About as impressive a home run as you could hit to start a ball game. Opposite field and off, way up on that scoreboard that's hanging on the edge of the second deck. Crushed it. And then scored from first base on a single. So, nobody's done much, but Sean Rod has.
Here's that home run. Now Aaron Nola.
This ball hits way up above, up on the scoreboard, bounces back into the stands.
Then he had an infield hit with 1 out of the 6th, then scored on the pop-up single by Marte. He's down on strikes, back-to-back Ks for Luis Garcia. As you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the Hold True moment later in tonight's game. Gabe Kapler with the Polanco coming up. He's going to go to the bullpen once again.
He's got a left-handed specialist out there. He's going to use him now.
Won the first 2 games of the series. Adam Morgan came on last night at a 1-2-3 7th, striking out Adam Frazier, Gregory Polanco, and getting starting Marte to ground out. And he faces Polanco for a second straight night.
Very tough on lefties.
Last year, lefties hit 193 off of him. Righties hit 276 last season off Adam Morgan.
That pitch right there is what he had going last night. That breaking ball was tough. And he's got a good live fastball too. He throws up there in mid-90s.
Josh Harrison can only watch. He's on the DL.
There's a slider for a strike. Breaking ball, just a sweeper type breaking ball.
Crick ready in the Pirates bullpen. Little cue shot, and it's going to be a base hit for Polanco, an excuse me single. A big swing.
You got that breaking ball, and it just hit the very knob of the bat.
And that'll be it for the lefty specialist, Adam Morgan.
Yeah, he came on to get Polanco and came very close to striking him out, but Polanco hitting that ball just off the very end, and there's nobody down playing third base, so he got a hit.
A run, have a man on, 2 outs in the 8th. It's a whole new ball game with RBI Baseball 18. RBI Baseball 18 delivers an all-new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone. Phillies coming in with a record of 12-7, just 2 back of the Mets in the National League East. Pirates started the day a half game up on the Cardinals and Brewers in the Central, and Gabe Kapler calls on his closer to try and get 4 outs. Hector Neris picked up the save last night with a scoreless night. Did give up a double to Jordy Mercer.
A couple years ago, this would be almost automatic. With 2 outs, Polanco would take off here. But really cut back on his running last year. And we'll see what this year brings. Pretty good lead. Not going anywhere.
Five attempts with Navris on the hill last season. Opponents were 4 for 5 against him. Alfaro has thrown out 20% this season.
Well, that's pretty good numbers then, I think, in your favor. 4 out of 5 and only 20% for Alfaro, period.
Adam Frazier will pinch hit. Josh Bell was lifted, sort of a double switch rather early in the ball game, so that became the pitcher's spot. Now 1-2. Bell would be on deck. One and two on Marte. There goes Polanco, and a fly ball to right. The final out of the 8th.
Won the International League's Pitcher of the Week for the first week of the season. Spectacular numbers out of him. Look at Taylor Hearn, acquired in the Felipe Vasquez trade. Came over with him in exchange for Mark Melancon a year and a half ago, off to a good start. Mitch Keller pitching today, 7 strong innings, gave up just 3 runs. And Neil Huntington talked about Mitch Keller. He said he wants to see continued growth and development from Keller in 2018, and in particular developing the changeup. He referenced A.J. Burnett and the fact that A.J. did not throw a changeup until his last year in the big leagues, and he's hoping that Keller will learn that 18 years before A.J. did as well. Travis McGregor, the last guy you saw for the West Virginia Power, he was a high draft pick, 2nd-round draft pick, guys, back in 2016. So some good news early on for some of these buccos working their way to the upper levels of the minor leagues.
All right, Robbie, Mitch Keller tonight for Altoona, 7 innings, 3 runs, 7 strikeouts, ERA under 2. I heard Robbie say that Jason Martin is a triple away from the cycle in that game. Altoona hosts Richmond Flying Squirrels in Altoona, PA tonight.
Watch out for McGregor.
McGregor.
He's got, I think, 20 strikeouts, something like 12 innings.
4-pitch walk to Carlos Santana. Brings up Odubel Herrera, Ray Searage, asking you for a name, spitting it with Searage.
Nice, I like it.
Well, for the radio show that is Saturdays.
Solid as Searage, just like solid as Sears. I think Steve might really like that one. It's going back a ways.
We have another double switch.
Remember, Steve's got the final say.
Yeah,
I'll run these in front of him.
Yep. Adam Frazier going to come out.
Craig, look at the scoreboard.
Oh my gosh. You got a guy who's passed out on the scoreboard, beer in hand. Completely passed out. The place went nuts.
Hey, he's enjoyed himself today.
Yep, they did it again. There it is. He has no idea.
Sound asleep.
Now this is an act.
You think?
Oh, come on.
Well, it was a good one if it was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Pirates closer. Felipe comes on.
Felipe Vasquez is pretty darn good this year, as we expect. High expectations for him, obviously.
Adam Frazier now playing center field. At the pitcher spot, now due up first in the top of the ninth, which was the cleanup spot to begin the ball game. There's Adam Frazier now in center. On a strike on Herrera. 1 for 3. Do you know the official stats still have
Yes.
Rivero? There's a swing and a miss.
They still have Jung Ho Gung on there, correct?
Yeah, but at least Jung Ho Gung is still called Jung Ho Gung. Wild pitch on the swing and the miss.
Kind of an odd play by Cervelli, don't you think?
Yeah.
Could he have been crossed up on that? Watch, he doesn't try to really block the ball. He just tries to pick it out of the dirt like a first baseman.
Strange.
We thought maybe that was going to be a fastball.
Wow. Look at this. He's going to reach this time. Two swings and misses. Wild pitches, and this strikeout results in a batter reaching first.
Same thing. He did not try to block it. He tried to catch it. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. 2 in a row. Same thing. Well, Cervelli's been doing a lot of catching here early on. Day games after night games. Been swinging a pretty good bat. Tough to get him out of there. But those weren't his best efforts.
Fly ball to right. See if Polanco can get to the ball. Nope. He won't. And a run will score. And it's 4-2.
How close did Hoskins get to passing Herrera? Well, we saw that, or we didn't see that. That happened the other day somewhere where on a home run they gave a guy a single.
You see, Polanco's first move was to go back.
Oh man, just about an inch. He missed that by at most. Oh no, it wasn't that close. I saw Herrera go back like he wasn't sure if that ball was caught or not, like he was going to go back to tag. That's why I was wondering about that. Looked like Hoskins kind of had his head up and knew what was going on, and he backed off.
Pop up shallow center. Frazier gets there.
A very nice play. Good break on the ball.
Scott Kingery now 0 for 3. Well, he's up by a couple.
Pretty much just challenged the young man with that one, 97.
Pirates took the early lead on the home run by Sean Rodriguez. They scratched out another run in the 6th. Stephen Brault was pitching a one-hit shutout and gave up the ground single to Odubel Herrera with 1 out of the 6th after he barely hit Carlos Santana. And Michael Felice came on, gave up a 3-run homer to Rhys Hoskins. Hoskins his 4th home run of the season. It was very obvious that Michael Felice became gun shy after the breaking ball during that sequence was hit deep but foul. Breaking ball that was up. He and Francisco Cervelli decided not to throw another one, and Hoskins was ready. And now
I think that might have been another cross-up, or a cross-up. Cervelli immediately after he smothered that one, calling time and going out to talk it over. Now, was that a fastball, Greg?
I think so.
And Cervelli, he went to his knees to block it.
Yeah.
Like he probably should have done on the other two, except it was a fastball, so it didn't bounce.
That little
tick of the glove cost him a run.
slowed it down just enough, and now a bizarre play there where Vasquez and Cervelli converge. Neither can stop it, and that will allow the runners to advance. So things get sloppy here in the 8th as the Phillies lead 5-2.
Now Vasquez, his place on that is not around the plate. He's got to be back by the backstop, backing this up. See, I just slowed the ball enough to allow him to come in, but Vasquez, it shouldn't be there. He should have been where he is right now. Can't say much for the throw either, though, I guess. It was way offline.
Single E8. Now, Aaron Altair. Philly scored twice in this 8th inning. Leadoff walk by Santana. And now what? Cervelli going back out there. Might have been asking, he's done this before. We saw him, I think in spring training, ask about these trips. What about it? Is it a cross up? You know, they try and convince the umpire that it shouldn't count against.
Well, I think the only time it won't count is if you don't have any left.
Right, but he's done this before where he tries to talk them out of having it count at all, and he's surprised, like, what's going on here? It is another cross-up. He's obviously asking Lance Barrett to not have it count.
Now, if they don't have any trips left, Barrett could say, yeah, go out there and get things straight once and for all.
He's trying to keep that handful of visits in his pocket.
You don't get to carry him over for the next day. Might as well go out there. But it's really weird that they're having such a hard time, knowing what to throw or what he's throwing. I mean, they've worked together quite a bit.
Diving stop by Mercer that saves a run for now, but it's an infield hit for Altair.
That was an awful strange play. It looked like Kingery thought that they were going on contact. The Phillies are having a little miscommunication. That's the runner at second.
Oh my gosh,
he's off and going like it's a contact play.
Boy, if Mercer can get a flip off to Rodriguez, they might have had a play there. If he comes up with it right here and gets it to Sean Rod.
Now the runners are told before a pitch is made whether you're going on contact or you're to wait until the ball goes through. And the runners were not on the same page there.
Now the infield at double play depth.
You had Hoskins definitely waiting to see if the ball goes through. And you have Kingery breaking like they were going on contact.
Still just one out, and now this will be the 20th pitch of the Vasquez outing. And you start to.
Well, that happened to him last year. Remember, he had a long outing, a lot of pitches, and then he wasn't very good for a few outings after that.
Well, what comes to now, you start to think about tomorrow. But now is becoming a situation where it's not out of hand yet, but it's close. And Kyle Crick is ready.
Oh yeah, he's ready. He's been up before. This is at least the second time he's thrown.
Reese is going to bat. Freeze to the plate and out there. Safe!
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to be real surprised they call this out.
Cervelli came off the plate and what should have been a routine really out at the plate. Oh, the Pirates.
Well, they got to look at it. I mean, this is one of those plays that is close enough no matter what. It's late enough in the game. Here, well, this will be a great look by it for us. Safe, you think?
Wow.
I think they'll go with that look straight down, don't you?
I do.
It's close, but
well, Pirates looking sloppy at times here the last few games.
yeah, that was quick, whatever they're going to say. Safe.
Man, this is bad, this inning. And that's going to be it for Vasquez.
23 pitches. He'll probably be okay for them all.
Should be an error on Freeze, I would think. Second error of the inning. Six-2 Phillies. Pirates led 2-0 going into the bottom of the sixth. David Freese is charged with the second error of this inning. Adam Frazier was charged with one earlier. And things have gotten away. Kyle Crick.
Crick just in 3 games now since he's been called up and done well. Morris looks like he's going to sacrifice. Maybe he's just going to take 3. Could be what he was told to do.
Very likely. Nope. Take a couple and swing away.
Not his job. A little laughter from the Philly troops.
It's his second career at bat. Hernandez is the 9th man to bat in the 8th. This inning began with the 4-pitch walk to Carlos Santana by Edgar Santana, the Pirates. Vasquez came on and uncorked a couple of wild pitches, striking out Odubel Herrera. And the ball hit by Rhys Hoskins to right field.
What that pitch, Greg?
Call a ball?
Yeah. It's been amazing. That's the edge of that white thing shaped like a house, isn't it?
Two and two on Hernandez. Santana, Herrera, Hoskins have scored. Kingery, Altair, Alfaro are on the bases. Fister fouled away. Pirates players faced with the prospects now of trying to avoid being swept by the Phillies in a 4-game series. Unless they come back this afternoon. Now down 4. Last shot coming up. Series tomorrow afternoon against their cross-state rivals. Trevor Williams goes to the mound for the Pirates. Nick Pivetta will start for the Phillies. Coverage starts at 1 o'clock with Pirates pregame presented by W.B. Mason. There is Trevor Williams. Might be on his shoulders, his right arm, to get the Pirates back the winning ways.
Need a redeemer game. We need to get the offense going, Greg. That's who we, I think, need to get the game on the offense's shoulders for a little while.
There's the bat for Adam Frazier. Again, he's in this spot. Josh Bell lifted part of a double switch in the 6th.
Turn a 6-2 score around. Win one by that number.
Little dribbler hugging the line foul. Seven hits tonight.
Nova, good start last night's game.
Sean Rodriguez had this game going with that home run.
He was the offense today.
2 hits for him.
Got us a run with his legs, got us a run with his bat.
And nobody over there, so Adam Frazier will take advantage. Almost looked like he was doing what we saw Colin Moran do.
Hey, can't hit a grand slam with nobody on, so got to have base runners. A little split finger pitch in the outside corner. Good place to try and hit that.
Corey Dickerson, 2 for 3 in this one. Down even now on Dickerson. There he's got the last out of the 8th.
Got to be selective here. And I know that Corey is that type of a hitter. This is a place you would love to get a walk.
Fly ball. And Herrera. 1 out. Cervelli 0 for 3. He's 2 for 8 in the series. We figured he would get the day off tomorrow.
I think he's real happy right now. He's been crossed up at least twice this afternoon. And some disagreements with the umpire.
He would have been really upset there.
Yeah, I don't ever see him getting tossed, but that might have done.
Yeah. 2-1. Neris came on when this game was close in the 8th inning.
Yeah,
A 1-run lead. He'd get a save here.
If he finishes, it will be a save.
Since June of last year, he's been successful in 23 of 24 save chances. A 1.52 ERA in those games. And playable for Altair. Nice catch.
He went a long way for that. All the way into that cutoff area over there to the railing. You see, occasionally a first baseman, maybe a second baseman getting all the way over to that spot, but that's a long run for a right fielder. Put the squeeze on it and braced himself on the padding.
Phillies will give Frazier second base. Pirates going to drop out of first place with this one, as the Cardinals were winners. Two-0 count on Moran. Mercer on deck, 2 outs. From June last year to the end of the season, 20 straight saves for Hector Neris. It's the longest streak by a Philly closer since Brad Lidge in 2008. Line drive, great catch on the dive by Carlos Santana to end it. And the Phillies have won the first 3 games of this series.
Well, could have gone either way for a long time in this game. Nice little battle early on between Brault and Nola, but just a disaster inning here in the 8th, Let the Phillies put up a big crooked number, and that's usually the undoing, especially when it happens late like this.
So the Phillies win it 6-2. Back to Paul and Michael in the studio.